Hello guys! Imagine that you're finishing your first year in college. You're majoring in law and you have good grades. Your friends and relatives know that you always wanted to be a lawyer. Lately, you have been taking interest in economics. You enrolled in a microeconomics course and you love it. You are all excited. Why did nobody tell me about economics before, you think? Clearly, you have a dilemma. Should you change your major? Should you abandon your dream of being a lawyer? Although there's nothing wrong with changing your mind, you feel pressured to keep things consistent. You want to switch to economics, but something is holding you back. Why don't we stick to what we said or committed in the past, even that there's evidence that we are wrong? Today, in deciding how to decide, we will talk about the commitment bias. And what exactly is it? The commitment bias is the tendency to be consistent with what we already said or done, even if there's evidence that we should change or backtrack. Let me ask you something. Do you think a doctor feels committed to a medication he has publicly recommended and feels obligated to prescribe it, even if there are better options, just to avoid looking indecisive? Do you think a politician who has taken a public stance regarding fiscal policy will hesitate to walk back those previous statements even if evidence against his position emerges out of fear of looking inconsistent? If you're labeled a flip-flopper in politics, watch out. You can lose a presidential election. Ask John Kerry. And why does commitment bias happen? First, self-image management. We want to feel and portray to others that we are always right. We want to be seen as rational decision makers, so we defend our decisions at any cost. We save face. Have you found yourself convincing others that, while your decision was outright disastrous, it will be good in the long term? Didn't you feel ridiculous afterward? Second, we strive for consistency. We relate it with rationality, strength, honesty, and stability. And we know others do too. It's funny. Society values consistency and conviction even when something might be wrong. Third, on the other hand, we despise inconsistency. It's not a socially desirable trait. A person perceived as inconsistent is also seen as weak, confused, and two-faced. Thus, we try hard to keep our promises even if it goes against our self-interest, which is irrational. Let's call this dumb consistency. You want to hear something funny? Let's check out the famous experiment done by the social psychologist Leon Festinger, who in the 50s infiltrated a Chicago-based cult called the Seekers. They believed that big chunks of the world would be destroyed by a flood on December 21, 1954, and that they will be saved by a flying saucer. Festinger was curious about how the members would react when the prophecy failed. First, let me clarify that the world didn't end that day. Did reality beat the Seekers? Did they disband afterward? Not at all. Ironically, when nothing happened on that winter day, most of their members became even more staunch and rigid defenders of their beliefs. They doubled down. They made several rationalizations for the non-event. Festinger attributed this to the members' need to lessen the pain of the disconfirmation of the prophecy. And while this is important, commitment bias can hurt our ability to learn and to make good decisions. It makes us stick to bad ideas for too long. It can also be a barrier for positive change. Commitment bias can have grave consequences when people with power fall for it. Decision makers usually have thin skin and are not prone to recognize mistakes. They might stick to unsound plans and policies to save face and to protect their status in the power hierarchy and their standing among voters. Not good. Big takeaway from this video. There's no shame in changing when evidence shows us a new way. There's shame in sticking with a bad idea. It's irrational. Ask John Maynard Keynes, the famous economist. Some sources claim, without hard evidence, that he once said, "When facts change, I change my mind." What do you do, sir? And what can we do about it? First, acknowledge that consistency is not the ultimate goal or value. Is it too difficult to say, "I was wrong"? Some people will admire you if you admit that certain idea that you had is wrong. Others will judge you for that, but who cares? You can't keep people happy. They will talk. Does commitment bias have a silver lining? It does. You can use it in your advantage to commit to good things. Publicly announce to your friends that you intend to lose 8 kilos in the next 6 months. You will probably do whatever it takes to reach that goal. So, share your important goals and commit. Now, a disclaimer. Remember, this video is not the last word regarding commitment bias. Its goal was to ignite your interest in this topic so you do your own research. Send us your feedback so we can continue this conversation. Time to go. See you next time. Thank you.